Hey everybody, this is the Murozond encounter of the End Time instance in patch 4.3. He's the final boss of the instance. His mechanic centers around the Hourglass of Time. Unlike the Black Morass encounter where each of the players was given an item to use that they had to use in sequence, the entire group gets 5 uses total, and it can't be a single player that uses the hourglass every time. You can see a gauge at the bottom that tells you how many uses of the hourglass that you have left. For this purpose, I recommend that you put, at the very least, a range character on it. In my opinion, I believe a mage works best because the mage can blink to the hourglass quickly and avoid distortion bombs, things of that nature. Fortunately, my view here is a bit constricted because the boss is so frickin' huge, but he does a front conal breath, so you need to keep him faced away from everybody, and he does an AoE called Temporal Distortion that hits everybody for a fair amount, and he throws what are called distortion bombs, and you can see them in the back left there, those little swirly patterns on the ground. He'll target a player with them, he'll throw a bomb at him, and then it leaves a void zone there. When you trigger the Hourglass of Time, it resets your health, your mana, and all your cooldowns, but it also removes the distortion bombs. But given how much health the boss has, it's recommended that you allow as many distortion bombs to land as you can tolerate before you trigger it, so that you're not left hanging without the hourglass for the last half of the boss's health. This fight is a dream for prot paladins, and I would imagine most other DPS as well that have a lot of cooldowns, because the hourglass resets them when used. So you can LOH every hourglass, you can hit Guardian of Ancient Kings, every cooldown is up. He's got a lot of health. As long as you space them out, try to keep the boss faced away from the raid. You'll notice at one point I get a little disoriented during the fight and I forget where I am because the hourglass sometimes moves your position a bit. You need to spread out a little to avoid the distortion bombs, but you also need to be careful not to spread out too much so that you outrange your healer. This was my first look at the boss, so my execution is pretty poor here. It was nearly a wipe because it turned out we were using too many hourglasses towards the beginning and we had to withstand quite a long period of time at the end. And I believe I had the boss face towards the party at one point because I couldn't tell where I was. So hopefully this helps to give you a good glimpse of the fight and how it's spaced out. I would imagine it's going to be more difficult in the final version. This seemed a little undertuned, although I'd imagine the mechanics of the fight would probably make it a little more hectic for healers than it is for tanks.
Hourglass's power is exhausted. No more games, mortals. Your time has come. You know not what you have done. has come to pass. The moment of